Welcome back to Kringle's Christmas Stories. There's really nothing quite like a good Christmas story to get me in the holiday spirit.
I completely agree. There's just something so magical about them, isn't there? They really transport you to a world of snow and wonder and all those heartwarming moments.
Absolutely. And tonight, we have a real treat for you.
Oh.
It's a story called The Tale of Krampus and the Christmas Rescue.
Ooh, I love it already.
It's full of adventure and bravery, and of course, the true spirit of Christmas. Are you ready to listen?
I am all ears.
All right then, snuggle in, get cozy, and let your imagination run wild.
In a snow-covered village at the edge of the Alps, where the borders of Switzerland and Hungary seemed to blur among the towering peaks, Christmas was the most awaited time of year. The scent of roasted chestnuts drifted from every street corner, mingling with the sharp, fresh bite of the mountain air. Lanterns adorned with intricate lace patterns swayed in the wind, casting warm glows over cobblestone streets. Families gathered around their hearths, telling tales of St. Nicholas, angels, and yes, even the fearsome Krampus.
Ooh, Krampus. He's a fascinating character, isn't he? Every culture seems to have their own version of a figure who keeps things in check during the holidays.
It's true. It really makes you wonder why these figures exist in so many different traditions, doesn't it?
Yeah,
Perhaps it's a way to remind people, especially children, to be on their best behavior during a time that's all about joy and generosity.
that's a really interesting point. It's like a balance, right?
Yeah.
The excitement and good deeds rewarded by St. Nicholas, and then there's Krampus,
Mm-hmm.
who serves as a reminder of the consequences for not being so good.
Exactly. It speaks to that age-old struggle between good and bad, naughty and nice. But let's see how Krampus plays into our story tonight.
Right. So the story continues. But for 12-year-old Anika in our story, Christmas felt distant and cold. Her younger brother, Matthias, had vanished 2 nights ago, leaving a void that no carol or candlelight could fill.
Oh no, that's heartbreaking. To have such a worry hanging over you during the Christmas season, especially when you're so young, it's unimaginable.
I know.
I wonder what happened to Matthias.
The story goes on to describe Anika sitting in their small, rustic cottage, staring into the fire, her hands, usually busy helping her mother prepare for the festivities, now limp in her lap. Her grandmother, Naji, sat across from her, knitting quietly, though her sharp eyes missed nothing. The fire's glow danced on Nagi's lined face, softening her stern expression.
Grandmothers. They always seem to have this knowing wisdom about them, don't they?
Right.
I bet Nagi will play an important role in helping Aniko.
I have a feeling you're right. The story continues. You're quieter than usual, Kisivim, Nagi said gently. I can hear the worry in your silence.
Ah, Kisivim.
That sounds so endearing. It's almost like a term of endearment that only grandmothers can use, isn't it?
Mm-hmm.
It creates such a warm feeling, even amidst the worry.
It does. And you can just feel the love and concern in Nagi's voice. What happens next?
Let's see. Annika sighed, turning her gaze to her grandmother.
Nagi, what if we can't find him? Matthias isn't strong enough to survive the cold on his own. Oh, Anika. You can hear the desperation in her voice. It's every sibling's worst nightmare to lose their brother or sister, especially in such a harsh environment.
Absolutely. The vulnerability of a child lost in the cold is just
Mhm.
terrifying.
Let's see what Nagi has to say. The story goes on. Nagi set her knitting aside and leaned closer. Her voice dropped, filled with both gravity and a hint of mystery. Annika, listen carefully. There's one who might know where Matthias is.
Here we go. I bet this is where things get interesting. Who do you think Nagi is about to mention?
It's got to be someone who knows the area well,
Yeah.
someone who might have seen something, or someone who's connected to the darker side of Christmas traditions.
Ooh, I like where you're going with that. Someone who knows the secrets of the mountains and the shadows of Christmas.
Right.
Can't wait to find out.
All right, let's continue. Whew, Anika asked, hope flickering in her eyes. Nagi's voice grew even softer. Krampus.
Krampus, I knew it. It had to be him. But why would Krampus, a figure known for punishing naughty children, take a kind and curious boy like Matthias? It just doesn't add up. That's what Anka thought, too. I guess we'll have to keep listening to find out. Here's what the story says. The name sent a shiver through her spine. Every child in the village had heard of Krampus, the towering horned figure who punished mischief makers and taught them lessons they'd never forget. He was said to roam the mountains with a sack to carry off naughty children and jingling bells to announce his presence.
You know, it's interesting how certain sounds become so deeply associated with specific characters or events.
Right.
Like the jingling bells of Krampus, they immediately evoke a sense of fear and anticipation, don't they?
They do. It's like you can almost hear them echoing through the snowy mountains, a warning and a promise all at once.
Exactly. It adds such a chilling layer to the story.
Okay, so back to Annika. Annika whispered, "Why would Krampus take Matthias? He's not naughty. He's kind and curious."
That's the million-dollar question, isn't it?
It is.
Why would Krampus take a boy who doesn't fit the naughty child profile?
Hmm.
Perhaps there's more to Krampus than meets the eye, or maybe there's a misunderstanding. What does Nagi have to say about this?
Well, here's what the story tells us. Nagi's wise eyes softened. Krampus isn't evil, Kasivim. He is a teacher of lessons. And sometimes even the innocent must learn. If Matthias is lost, Krampus might have taken him to keep him safe.
That's an interesting perspective. So maybe Krampus isn't just about punishment, but about protection and guidance as well.
Yeah,
Perhaps there's a deeper wisdom at play here.
it certainly makes you think. And what does Anika do with this new information?
Let's find out. The story says, Anika's jaw set with determination, then I'll find him.
Wow, Anika is one brave girl. Knowing that Krampus, a figure who strikes fear into the hearts of most children, might have her brother and still deciding to go after him, that's incredibly courageous.
It speaks to the power of sibling love, doesn't it? It's a love that knows no bounds, a love that's willing to face any fear to protect the ones we cherish.
So true. All right, let's see what happens next. Nagi nodded slowly. It won't be easy. Krampus is not quick to trust, and he will test your courage. But if your heart is true, he will listen. Follow the sound of his bells.
Follow the sound of his bells. That's both a clue and a warning, isn't it? The bells, a symbol of Krampus's presence, now become a guide for Annika on her quest to find her brother.
And it sets the stage for an incredible adventure. Imagine a young girl venturing into the snowy mountains, following the chilling sound of Krampus's bells, all to save her brother. What happens next?
Let's dive back into the story. That night, under the pale glow of a winter moon, Anika wrapped herself in her warmest shawl, packed a satchel with gingerbread cookies, her brother's scarf, and a lantern, and ventured into the woods.
Gingerbread cookies. That's interesting. Why do you think she packed those?
I'm not sure. Maybe it's a peace offering, or perhaps simply a source of comfort for her on this long and uncertain journey.
Both good possibilities. What happens when she gets into the woods?
The story continues. The snow lay deep and pristine, muffling her footsteps. The tall pines loomed above her, their shadows casting eerie shapes in the moonlight. At first, there was nothing but the sound of the wind whistling through the branches. Then, faintly, Anika heard it. A haunting melody carried on the breeze, the soft jingling of bells. Nadi had been right.
Ooh, chills. Those bells. I can just imagine how eerie and magical they must sound, echoing through the silent, snowy forest.
Absolutely. It creates such a sense of suspense, doesn't it? You can practically feel Anika's heart pounding as she follows that sound, knowing that it leads her closer to Krampus and hopefully her brother.
Right. And where do the bells lead her?
The story says. The sound led her deeper into the forest. The air grew colder, biting at her cheeks, and the trees grew closer together, their twisted branches like grasping hands. The bells rang louder now, their sound resonating in her chest. Finally, she emerged into a clearing lit by a massive fire. There, standing beside the flames, was Krampus.
Wow, what a visual. Anika, a small figure amidst towering trees, finally coming face to face with the legendary Krampus. I wonder what he looks like.
I'm just as curious. Let's see. He was taller than Anika had imagined, his muscular frame covered in dark fur that seemed to shimmer with an otherworldly light. His curling horns rose high above his head, and his eyes, amber and piercing, seemed to see straight into her soul. Around his neck hung a chain of silver bells, their chime both beautiful and unsettling. A large sack rested at his feet, its contents shifting faintly.
He sounds both terrifying and awe-inspiring. It must be such a mix of emotions for Anika: fear, hope, determination. I wonder what she does next.
The story continues. Krampus turned to her, his voice like a deep rumble of thunder. Who dares approach me on this cold, quiet night?
Ooh, that's intense. Krampus's voice alone sounds intimidating. What do you think Anika will do? This feels like a great place to pause and pick up the story next time.
I agree. I can't wait to hear what happens next. Will Anika be brave enough to face Krampus? Will she find her brother? Stay tuned for part 2 of our deep dive into the tale of Krampus and the Christmas rescue. Last time, we left Anika standing face to face with that imposing Krampus, his voice booming through the silent, snowy forest. It was quite the cliffhanger.
It was. You know, as a kid, I always imagined Krampus as this purely menacing figure, but this story seems to be painting a more nuanced picture, don't you think?
I agree. This portrayal of Krampus as a figure who tests courage and teaches lessons is really fascinating. It challenges that typical good versus evil trope and kind of suggests a more complex understanding of right and wrong.
Yeah, it really does. So what happens when Annika meets Krampus face to face?
Well, let's see. According to the story, Anika swallows hard but steps forward. I do, she said, her voice steady despite her fear. My name is Anika, and I've come to find my brother Matthias. Please tell me if he's here.
Annika is so brave. She doesn't hesitate even though she must be terrified.
Yeah, she really is. It's quite remarkable. She's driven by love for her brother and a determination to bring him home.
Let's see how Krampus reacts.
Okay, the story says Krampus tilted his head, his eyes narrowing as he studied her. Matthias, he repeated, as though pasting the name. The boy with the wandering spirit. Yes, he is in my care.
He admits it. But why would he take Matthias into his care? He wasn't a naughty child.
This is where it gets interesting. It seems Krampus might have motivations beyond simply punishing naughty children. Perhaps his role is more about protecting those who wander too far, those who need to learn a lesson about the dangers of the world.
I'm really curious to see how this plays out. Does Annika ask Krampus why he took Matthias?
She does. Anika's breath hitched. Relief washed over her, but fear remained. Why did you take him?
It's a question we're all asking. What does Krampus say?
The story continues. Krampus's horns gleamed in the firelight as he leaned closer. I found him lost in the woods, chasing a rabbit as night fell. He was foolish but kind-hearted. I took him to protect him and to teach him a lesson.
So it wasn't about being naughty after all. It was about safety and teaching a valuable lesson. It seems Krampus has a softer side than we might have initially thought.
He does. It does challenge our preconceived notions, doesn't it? It suggests that even figures associated with darkness and punishment can act out of compassion and a desire to protect.
What lesson does Krampus want to teach Matthias?
Let's find out, Anika asked, clutching the lantern. What lesson?
Anika is determined to understand Krampus's motives. She's not just passively accepting his actions.
Right, exactly. She's seeking clarity and understanding. It's quite admirable. And Krampus obliges. That curiosity, unchecked, can lead to danger, Krampus said. His voice was calm but firm. The forest is not a place for thoughtless wandering.
That's a valuable lesson indeed. While curiosity is a wonderful trait, it's important to temper it with wisdom and caution, especially in potentially dangerous situations.
I completely agree. It's a lesson that applies to all of us, not just children exploring the woods. We should always approach the unknown with a healthy dose of respect and awareness.
So what's Anika's next move? Does she plead with Krampus to return her brother?
She does. Please, Anika said, stepping closer. Let me take him home. I'll teach him to be careful, I promise.
Anika's love for Matthias shines through. She's willing to take responsibility for her brother's actions and ensure he learns from this experience.
Yes, it's a testament to the strength of her bond with her brother. It's clear that she's not just trying to rescue him, but to understand and support him as well.
But Krampus doesn't just let them go, does he?
Not exactly. Krampus's eyes bore into hers, and for a long moment he was silent. Then he nodded slowly. You are brave, little one, but bravery alone does not earn you what you seek. If you want your brother back, you must prove your worth.
A challenge. I love it. This is such a classic element of fairy tales and folklore. It raises the stakes and tests the character's resolve.
It does. It also highlights the idea that actions speak louder than words. Krampus wants to see that Anika's bravery is genuine and that she's willing to go the extra mile for her brother.
So what's the challenge? What does Anika have to do to prove her worth?
The story tells us Krampus pointed to a steep hill beyond the clearing, its peak shrouded in mist. At the top of that hill grows an ancient tree. Bring me one of its cones, whole and unbroken, and your brother will be yours again.
Wow, that sounds like a dangerous task. Climbing a misty mountain in the middle of winter, all to find a single perfect cone. That's a real test of strength and determination.
It is. It's not just a physical challenge, but a mental one as well. Anika will have to overcome her fear, navigate the treacherous terrain, and maintain her focus throughout the entire journey.
This is getting really exciting. I can't wait to find out what happens next.
Okay, let's dive back into the story. The journey to the hill was grueling. The snow deepened with every step, and the air grew colder, stinging Anika's cheeks. The hill itself was treacherously steep, its surface slick with ice. Shadows seemed to move in the corners of her vision, whispering her name, but she pressed on, her love for Matthias driving her forward.
This part of the story really highlights Anika's resilience and unwavering determination. Even in the face of danger and exhaustion, she keeps going.
It does. It speaks to the power of love and purpose, doesn't it? When we have a clear goal and a strong motivation, we can overcome incredible obstacles.
So does Anika make it to the top of the hill? Does she find the cone?
The story continues. When she finally reached the summit, she saw the ancient tree, a towering fir with branches as wide as a house. Its trunk was gnarled and twisted, and the snow on its boughs sparkled like diamonds in the moonlight. Annika searched carefully among its roots, her fingers numb from the cold, until she found it, a perfect cone, whole and glistening with frost.
She did it. She found the cone. I'm so relieved for her. What happens next? Does she go back to Krampus?
Let's see. With the cone tucked safely into her satchel, Anika descended the hill, her legs shaking with exhaustion but her heart steady with determination. When she returned to the clearing, Krampus was waiting by the fire.
The moment of truth. Does Krampus accept the cone? Does he reunite Anika with Matthias? This feels like a great cliffhanger to end part 2 on.
I agree. We've seen Annika's incredible courage and determination. Now we wait to see if her efforts have paid off. Will Krampus honor his word? Find out in part 3 of our deep dive into the tale of Krampus and the Christmas rescue.
Welcome back. Last time we left off with Anika returning to Krampus after that perilous journey to retrieve the ancient fir cone. It was a true test of her courage and determination.
It really was. And I, for one, am on the edge of my seat to see if Krampus honors his word. After all, this is Krampus we're talking about, not exactly known for being warm and fuzzy.
Right. So let's dive back into the story and find out what happens.
Okay, picking up where we left off, she handed him the cone, her hands trembling. Krampus examined it, then nodded, his amber eyes glowing with approval. "You have succeeded," he said, his voice softer now. "You have shown courage, determination, and love."
He sounds genuinely impressed. This isn't the booming, demanding voice we heard earlier. It seems like Anika has truly proven herself to Krampus.
Yeah, I think so too. It seems like Annika's actions have touched even the seemingly hardened heart of Krampus. It's a good reminder that even the most intimidating figures can be moved by acts of genuine love and courage.
So does Krampus reunite Anika with her brother.
Let's see. He reached into his sack and gently lifted out Matthias. The boy's eyes lit up when he saw his sister, and he leapt into her arms.
Oh, that's wonderful. I bet that was a beautiful, emotional reunion. What a relief for both of them.
I can only imagine all that worry and fear melting away as they embrace. It speaks to the incredible power of family bonds.
What happens next? Do they just head straight home?
Let's find out. The story goes on. "Anika," Matthias cried, clutching her tightly, "I knew you'd find me."
Of course he did.
Mm.
What little brother wouldn't have faith in his brave older sister?
Indeed. It's a testament to the trust and love they share. The story says, Annika held him close, tears streaming down her face. "You scared me, Matthias," she whispered. "Don't ever wander off like that again."
Sound advice.
Hmm.
Though I'm sure Matthias learned a valuable lesson about the dangers of unchecked curiosity.
Absolutely. But it seems Krampus isn't quite done yet. He watched them silently for a moment, then said, "Go home and cherish each other. But remember, curiosity is a gift, so long as it is guided by wisdom."
There's that lesson again. It seems like a key takeaway from this whole experience, doesn't it?
Yeah. It's a good reminder that even the most positive traits, like curiosity, need to be balanced with wisdom and a healthy dose of caution.
Such a great message, especially during the holiday season when excitement and wonder can sometimes lead to impulsive actions.
So true. But before they leave, there's one more detail. Anika reached into her satchel and offered Krampus the gingerbread cookies. "Thank you," she said earnestly, "for keeping him safe."
That's our Anika. Even after everything she went through, she remembers to show kindness and gratitude to Krampus. It speaks volumes about her character.
It does. It seems Anika has learned more than just a lesson about curiosity. She's also learned the importance of compassion and understanding, even towards those who might seem frightening or different.
So how does the story end?
The story continues. Krampus took the cookies with a nod. "Merry Christmas, little one."
Even Krampus gets to enjoy some Christmas cheer.
Yeah.
I love that detail.
Me too. It adds a touch of warmth and humanity to a character often associated with darkness. Shows that even Krampus has a place in the spirit of the holiday season.
So Annika and Matthias make it home safely.
They do. When Anika and Matthias returned to the village, the church bells rang out joyously and the townsfolk gathered to celebrate their safe return. Nagi embraced them both, her eyes twinkling with pride.
What a happy ending. I'm so glad they were reunited with their family and their community. What a heartwarming tale.
It is. It leaves us with so much to think about, doesn't it? The nature of good and bad, the importance of balancing curiosity with wisdom, and the enduring power of love and family.
Absolutely. It's a story that reminds us that even in the darkest of times, hope and courage can prevail. It's a message that resonates deeply, especially during the holiday
It
season.
really does.
Well, on that note, we want to thank you for joining us on Kringle's Christmas Stories. We hope you enjoyed our deep dive into the tale of Krampus and the Christmas Rescue.
It's been a pleasure sharing this story with you.
And don't forget to make your Christmas Eve extra special. Head over to www.comtoyourchoice.com and order your Comet's Choice premium reindeer food. It's a holiday tradition that's sure to delight the whole family. Until next time, may your days be merry and bright.